The thing that I represent over here with my huyak, where am I? They were kind of here right now. Okay, I'll present them later. Oh, the Duke is here. Hi, Duke. So, as you can see, this is a... Duke, come here, please. Come here. You are now in, let's so-called Indiana Jones version of the Duke, because it's Javantura, you know. So I don't know if you can put it there, or you can do something with that. Not at me, please. Please stay away. Okay. So... If the hats fall off, I'm not the one. So I'll be having my presentation in English, because in the meantime I've heard that we had more of foreign attendees coming in. So I'll do everything in English, and after me, the sponsors, please be somewhere around here so that I can talk you for the lightning talks. Duke, thank you. Thank you, Duke. You can stand down there. He cannot move too much. So today's lecture, it's called CroDuke Indy. This is our Indiana Jones version of the Duke and the Kingdom of Java Skills. I'm presenting with my colleague, Professor Aleksander Radovan here, and a lot of others which are in Hujak, like Marin Orlić here, Stjepan Matijašević, Slavko Žnidarić, Hrvoje Đurđević, and a lot of other guys which I don't see right now over here, but they will probably come in a few minutes. Okay, so I have a lot of information, so I'll make some kind of overload to your heads right now, but don't be concerned about it. It will be downloadable later and you can see it on YouTube. So first of all, some credit to the original Henry Walton Jones, Dr. Henry Walton Jones Jr., who is, by the way, now the second greatest film hero of all time by the AFI. Of course, Lucas and Spielberg are behind it. And actually, he doesn't have any kind of superpowers. He's just a regular guy out there with some kind of duality inside of it, like he's a college professor. I think I am too. But he's also adventurer, so I think if I'm in Javantura, probably I am too. So, yeah, but he's still more like this Duke than I am, so let's stick with that. So the CroDuke Indy has served the original Indiana Jones served as inspiration for CroDuke Indy some 4 years ago, and this is the first year we actually have a mascot here. So this is now really time that we can walk around it, because I saw such a mascot when I was in San Francisco 5-6 years ago, and I had the privilege, and everyone wanted to take a photo with him later. So just keep it there. Maybe, I don't know, 10 years from now you'll remember that, I met the real Duke there. So okay, he doesn't have, okay, he has a bullwhip and he has fedora now, but he also has a cup of Java in this nice logo here. Maybe a bit clumsy there, sorry about that thing. And he has a fear of snakes. Oh no, bugs in our case, we are developers. So the thing out there is, let's talk with Indiana version of explorer adventure out there through some Java history. Quick one, because I see a lot of new faces today here, so I'll go just through that. So basically, what's the start of Java man? How is Java old? What do you think? Okay. It's kind of a pretty old thing. If you didn't know exactly, the original Java man lived 1 million years ago at the island of Java. Well, a century ago, Jean Dubois, or however I spell that name, find it. And by the way, his name is Homo erectus erectus, if you ever want to wonder. He kind of looked like this guy here. And they discovered skull cap, thigh bone, and tooth, which I think served as an inspiration for the Duke mascot. I'm really not sure about that thing. So that's the original Java man. However, we have also a bit newer Java man there, and 100 years later, the Stealth project was there, and I don't know, can you see this guy there? Do you think you know who he is? This is a really nice picture of him there. That's Gosling. When he was doing Oak Interpreter with Green Team, they were actually skiing in Aspen, and they did some kind of brainstorming at the same time. At least that's what they say. So in '94, we got the first Java compiler, written in Java, of course, and we got Hot Java, which was actually the first Java graphical browser out there. And in '95, we got finally the Java version 1. Publicly announced at what we now call as Java 1 conference. At that point in time, it was Sun World conference, because Sun bought Oracle, Oracle bought Sun, and you know the story behind it. So this is the timeline of Java, which I think I'm showing for some of you for at least 3-4 times now. And well, since a long time ago, that's 1995 in March, 23rd of March, we've come a long way until Oracle bought Sun. And then a bit later, we actually did establish this thing called CroDuke, and we are now in it for 5 years. After that, we got new versions of Java, Standard Edition and Enterprise Edition, and what actually we are now expecting is 9, Standard Edition 9, and Enterprise Edition 8 somewhere, they say this year, but you'll hear much more about it a bit later. But okay, and then probably 10 also after it. But the thing that we are really proud of it, that in this meantime of 5 years, we did 15 conferences. So we did 5 Java Cross. This is the 4th Javantura. We had 3 Java Days at CroDuke conferences, and we also were involved in the first 2 webcam conferences. So I would say that we did pretty much in those 5 years. I didn't expect it, to be honest, if you asked me 5 years ago, that we will achieve something like that. So the short history of this guy over there is just, well, it was first used on a 5-incher color touchscreen device out there, which was actually having a processor and pretty nice RAM there, and it was used for wireless networking and multimedia codecs and a lot of different things. And most of you, when I say that this guy became from that, you think of something like this, don't you? Okay? But unfortunately, it's something different, just a bit larger. But guys, that was 20 years ago, so think about that time. It was called star 7. That's the outside dialing number in Sun Microsystems, if you didn't know. So this is actually when the Duke first appeared. It was not this large. It was a bit smaller and jumping on the screen and making saltos, jumps, I don't know, something like that. But basically, this is how we got Duke. Okay, when I say one ring to rule them all, do you know what that thing is? What? The Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I think we all can see something like that. But there is also one other thing like this. Have you ever saw this? Okay, so you were close, but it's actually Java ring. Do you know about that one? Wow, we have that thing also. I don't know if we can rule you all with it, but let's try to see what's behind it. So it was developed by Dallas Semiconductors. Today we have it as Maxim, and it was named iButton first. So it's a small chip inside a thing used mostly for encryption and things like that, using a specification of 1-wire bus, which means actually it has 1 wire, electrical contact here, and ground, and that's it. That's the whole story inside of it. So what is inside of it is some memory, which is tamper resistance, so-called rapid zeroization, which actually means if you try to make something with a screwdriver on it, it will delete itself and auto-destruct, like in Mission Impossible, maybe. I'm not sure about it. So a bit later, they said, but can we put Java on it? And yes, of course we can. And they put a Java virtual machine on this thing. And it was totally, and still is, compatible with Java Card 2 specification, which I was working in 99, somewhere over there, a long time ago. Oh, I'm that old, sorry. It's totally stainless steel, so you cannot break it or do anything you want with it. And you can put it on any other thing, not just the ring there. So you can put it on a key fob or a bracelet or whatever you want to, but they have it as a ring. The only thing I really don't like it, it's still pretty big, as you can see. So when I punch someone, I can use it for defense or something also. So yes, this is the Java ring. If you ever wondered that we have also something, it's not only in the Lord of the Rings, we also have something in the Java world. Okay, so this was the intro. And let's talk about some of the great Indiana Jones movies out there. So we are now growing for 22 years continuously, and Java is still the #1 platform in the world, now with, as you heard in the lecture before me, the cloud and microservices and a lot of things about it. So we have 15 billion devices which run Java these days, which I think is a pretty lot. A lot of them are medical devices, even cars, of course, and desktops also have still a lot of Java, as you can see, 97% or so. So Java is everywhere around us. As you can see here, Also, we have pretty much developers. I know that you all are not working right now in Java, but I think that if we count them all worldwide, globally, we have something like close to 10 million or so. And a lot of them have Java certificates like OCA, OCP, OCM. Those are associates, professionals, and masters. Who has those certificates here? Hands up, please. I see at least 30, 40 people. Yeah, really great. So you don't need help for us. But for everyone else, if you do need help, we can help you, okay? We have some experiences to share. And by the way, you can share it among each other if you wanted to get something like a really nice, under quotes, diploma of something. The question is always, why Java? Some of you saw these slides before, but I'm trying to go through it just a bit. We have it on small devices, like this one. And we have it on pretty large cloud servers and everything about it. So that's one of the things. However, I think that now is the age in which you actually, Duke, thank you, you can go away now if you want to. Because as I can see, they're paying more attention to you than me, so just that small glitch there. So what I wanted to say is that devices like Internet of Things, sensors and wearables and pervasive and ubiquitous devices are now probably going to rule the world in the next 10, 15 years or so. So we have servers now, but we also have to go on the small side too. Ecosystem of code and libraries is enormous, okay? It couldn't be larger than that. And Java is still portable and still open source, although I will talk about licenses a bit later. We have a pretty large vendors there working with us, not only Oracle, but there is also Red Hat, IBM, Google, and all the others that I didn't mention right now, sorry. But pretty large companies behind that whole story. And finally, we have this guy green out there. We don't have an Android mascot. You can see that at some other conferences, so it's not that important right now in this conference, although there will be a lecture about Android later and what to do about it in 2017. So yeah, really Java. Well, I think I showed this slide on one of my presentations, so some of you may saw it before. Who said this? The guy. Gosling, the father of Java. He said, I don't care anymore about Java. I care about all the other things on Java Virtual Machine. And there is a lot. There is a lot of things out there. 50 Java Virtual Machine languages out there, including Clojure, Groovy, Scala, JRuby, Jython, Phantom, Kotlin, Sail, and Extend, and I don't know which ones there, and JavaScript, of course. So all of these things are now in Java. So is it still a more popular language? I will go now, I promise you, quickly through those slides. People, yes. The first one, 22%. Python is the second one, okay? If you don't trust people, popularity programming language in this, okay. Let's see what it is also in some countries and regions. In UK, Python is a little bit above us right now, but okay, I think in Germany we are still okay, okay? So let's say now we are fighting with Python, no more C++ and other things that was a fight 10, 15, or 20 years ago. Okay, we don't trust people. Let's trust TOB. You all heard of TOB. No. So TOB says Java is the first. Bit going down right now because of some other languages on Java Virtual Machine, mostly, but still the first one. And really the first one, like C and C++, are way down below that. So Java on TOB is great. Okay, now when we're talking about the other languages, let's just see one other thing. Popularity of JVM languages in general. This is coming from Stack Overflow. So it looks like this. As you can see, something is growing pretty much out there. The name is, if you probably recall, Scala, and then we have Groovy, Clojure, JRuby, Jython, and the other languages out there also. So that is important if you ever want to switch to another language, what you'll get there. And by the way, do you know the one source we all trust? Not the Ring anymore. Yeah. Unfortunately, we still do. And some of my students still look at that thing and say, Stack Overflow, that's a good thing there. So the Stack Overflow now has something like 30 million questions and 21 million answers. Like every 8 seconds you have a new question on it. And the important thing about it, they did in 2016 the developer survey, which has some pretty nice things out there that you will see that they did. A lot of people answered it. So one of those things was the question about most popular technologies. Well, in that case, for 2016, we just started 17. So Java is third. Okay, but third after JavaScript, like which is everywhere, and SQL. Okay, so in that case, we are standing pretty good when we are comparing it with the other languages. If you want to be a bit more specific, like let's go to see what's good for backend developers, Java is third there also, which is kind of expected from the previous slide. But if we want to switch to front end a bit, then Java is actually the second after Android, and Android is kind of Java, isn't it? Okay, so it looks like Java is really, they are pretty important in those things. By the way, the same thing goes, if you go look at the Stack Overflow, they voted for tag Java, and this is the statistics for the last, well, since 2011, basically. And, well, how it goes and where it is right now, so you can round up those things. Every there on the lowest part of the slide, there is a link, so you can go and check it on your own if you want to later. Okay, one typical thing that, unfortunately, they didn't produce it for January. I was waiting for that, because so we have 6 months old data. It's coming from RedMonk, which is actually comparing GitHub and Stack Overflow. And RedMonk did nice chart, or their nice graph, which you can see over here. And if you don't see closely enough, I can put it out for you and make a circle around it. Java is up there, the second one after JavaScript right away. And there are also some other languages, JVM languages down there, well, pretty important right now and standing pretty high on this chart, as you can see. Okay, so enough about popularity. We covered that thing. So let's talk about actually what's going on in Java right now. So Raiders of the Java Arc. First, SE adoption. Well, they have at Rebel Labs some kind of survey for the last 4 years or so, and basically that was it, like in 2012, Java 6, 2014, Java 7, and 2016, who would say so, Java 8. Okay, if we don't trust them, whatever the reason, we can look at Plumber. They have a similar analysis for 3 years, and basically the data is kind of, as you can see, the same, but the data is a bit older, so in this case there is still a lot of Java 7, but we are getting to Java 8. So some of the data is like from 6 months ago, some of it maybe from even a year, but we don't have any newer things out there. So the last one is in 2016, Java 8 and Java 7 were aligned, as you can see. Okay, BioLDunk also did their own survey, and well, you already know what's the outcome of it. Basically, they all say the same thing. Java 8 is on the rise, and hopefully Java 6 is going down, finally. By the way, Dizon also published this guide to modern Java there, and he said that Java 8 is more likely to adopt for new applications than from the old one. This is, you don't have to rewrite them. You don't want to rewrite them, and that's one of the things there. So for the existing applications, we'll probably won't just put them on the new version of Java, and Java 9 will come this year also. So we'll kind of stay them over there, and the new applications will develop in the new version. And the most wanted list also involves basically, well, I would say 4 things. Lambdas, streams, stream API, optionals, and finally new Java time. Those are the 4 things that we all want in our new applications, because we were struggling with those things for, I would say, too many years right now. So what about other languages? They also say Groovy, Scala, Clojure. As you can see, Groovy and Scala are a bit better there, but okay, that's the matter of opinion. In 2016, they are still kind of aligned, and Clojure and Kotlin are rising right now. Okay, of information overload. I'll go even faster then, not a problem. So what about Java Enterprise Edition? Well, once again, Rebel Labs did a survey there, and they asked about a lot of questions. In 2014, it was looking like that. In 2016, okay, Java EE7 is definitely on the rise, and a lot of things out there, but there is more no Java EE in general. And that's one of the things I will talk about a bit later. So what is really popular out there? We also ask some guys which are doing like a top 100 list on GitHub there for the Java libraries, and basically these are just the categories. They said utilities, web stuff, and database stuff is the most popular out there. But I was, you know, something like interested what's really inside of it, so I tried to look more closely, and here is a nice graph, which I will explain a bit later. As you can see, JUnit is king, you know, and then everything after it. So if you don't want to look at this slide, I have prepared a few bullet points for you. So the first one is testing of whatever you want to. JUnit, Spring Test, TestNG, some other tests. All of them are pretty important for us. So the other thing is logging. SLF for JLog back, and all the other are also falling in that part. And they are in the first 20 places mostly, as you can see. Some of them are there. And I would say that testing libraries and logging libraries are, these days, the most important, the ones that we always use. There is also Google Guava. I won't talk about it right now. And, oh, well, one thing I have to talk about. So 44 out of these top 100 are related to Spring, which means there is a lot of Spring. Okay, you just cannot say it doesn't exist out there. And then Apache Commons. In Apache Commons, IO, Lang, codec, whatever. A lot of libraries out there, and some Mojitos at the end, JSON. So this is actually what we really use and download and out of those libraries and frameworks. So, okay, by the way, when I'm talking about most popular things, I have a few more slides about popular things. So for IDEs is one of those. As you would expect, the three out there are IntelliJ, Eclipse, and NetBeans, and it looks like Eclipse was really good in 2012. Okay, in 2016, IntelliJ is now the first. Wouldn't guess that one. NetBeans is still practically on the same point there, but Eclipse NetBeans story kind of changed in the last few years. Build tools. Can you guess this one? I think you can. Okay, and then. And a bit later, Maven, and these days even more Maven and even less, and Gradle is in the middle. Okay, that's typically what we use. Rebel Apps is really doing a great service out there. Profiling performance. Okay, Java profilers. JProfiler, Visual VM, Java Mission Control, Visual VM definitely now the first one. Performance tools, New Relic is really trying to do something, but AppDynamics is just behind him in Dynatrace. So I would say that those things are around, but still a lot of APMs we don't use these days. So this is just, I'm throwing some ideas at you if you ever want to work on something new in your new project, so you know which ones to look for and what to use there. So, okay, one thing that we always come to is what about application servers? And, well, development or production is practically the same. Tomcat is the first one, and then the rest of them. JT, Wildfly, JBoss, WebLogic, WebSphere, Glassfish, Tommy, Liberty Profile, and some others, so at least now you know what to expect. Tomcat is kind of still ruling the world. On Plumber, well, kind of the same thing. This is for the years in 2016, Tomcat, and then Wildfly, jetting now a little bit lower than that, Glassfish even lower, but okay, as you can see, the Tomcat and Wildfly / JBoss are the ones which take a big piece of that pie in the market. What about CI? Well, for continuous integration, Jenkins is ruling the stuff out there. Of course, we have Bamboo, TeamCity, Hudson, and the others, but Jenkins is like 2/3 of the stuff we actually do. And version control Git. Okay. Yes, we still use a lot of Subversion, but Mercurial and CVS are just not in that position, you know. Something like if you count Git with Subversion together, that's 90% or so. So, okay, one of the questions also there, what about web frameworks? That's also a nice thing we want to discover. So this is also for 3 years, 2012, 2014, and finally 2016. So it was looking like this. Can you see that what's missing on this chart? Boot and play 2. Okay, so we got it in the meantime, and in the meantime, okay, they rise pretty high. You know, the first one, MVC and boot, are practically together on the highest market. Vaadin is standing pretty well, and JSF is going down. But you know what's the problem with JSF? That's all related to the Java EE story. Okay, that's not JSF to blame. Okay, you have to understand that thing. Probably this will change in the following months or years, I hope. So in general, Spring, well, Pivotal has something to be proud of, I would say, and Vaadin also. So this is now how those things stand. If we look at the, how would I say, tools and technologies in general, how much is my Java cup full? It doesn't have to be Java, okay? How full it is? Well, Java 8 is there. We are using it a lot. Java EE7 is there. We are using it not that much, but a lot, more than anything else. We are using mostly these days IntelliJ IDEA, but Eclipse or NetBeans are also there. Spring MVC is one of the best frameworks, as you can see in these surveys. Tomcat is probably the most popular framework that app server that you will find there. Jenkins is ruling CI. Git is ruling the version controls. Docker for the virtualizations, I didn't show that part, but Docker is practically also the first one out there. Maven, of course, and finally Spring Boot. So these are kind of the technologies that you should look into right now. I wouldn't call the same thing in 5 years or 10 years. That's a different story. Maybe in 2 years we'll talk differently. But right now, this is actually the case. Okay, the other movie is Kingdom of Java Skills. So where we are and where are we going right now? So the current status Java is that we have Java SE version update 121 released in January 17, so a few days, well, 2 weeks ago. And the next critical update patch will be in April. No more MD5, gone, thank God. Okay, MD5 is not considered secure. And trying to make things plug-in free as possible. What does that thing tells us about applets and Flash? I'm really not sure, but we have to think about it. Okay, JDK 9 is also there, build 156. Eclipse, NetBeans have the support, and there is a nice site, I think it's coming from Takipi, Java 9 countdown. You click on it and it's just like counts down until actually it will be generally available for all of you out there. Okay. So we now discovered Java 9, so let's see what's in it. And now I'll go through this whole slide step by step, and of course I won't. And I won't know also this slide I'll skip, and I'll just say 89 specifications inside of it, so-called JEPs, okay? Wow, that's a lot. I was having similar slides like 4 months ago, and there was 85 of them, so they added some new things on top of it. And JDK 9 is looking pretty good. However, there was a lot of controversy about actually when the JDK 9 will go out and when it will be available. And let me point out just some of those things to know the history about it. So a long time ago, in December 2015, Mark Reinhold there from Oracle said something like, yes, sorry guys, we kind of need more time. Okay, so if you go to OpenJDK Java.net site, you will find those posts there and mails. And a bit later, in September 2016, the same guy, Mark, hi Mark, if you're listening to me, said, Jigsaw still need more time. Okay, and he asked for a 4th-month extension. So actually, at that point in time, they were talking about the final in 2017 or so. And then they asked him a question. I found this one also in October 2016. Still working on it. Okay, so kind of there was always, we have to do some more things. But most of these things have pretty good arguments why actually they are done like so. So the last one, the feature complete, is coming from January 19 this year, in which Mark said, okay, we will have JDK 9 this year, finally. So the feature set is actually those 89 JEPs that you just saw, and, well, it's frozen. We cannot add new things to it anymore. This is the thing we'll have. So the proposed schedule for JDK 9 was, oh, sorry, I got back, was something on your right side, you will find the old dates, which change a few times. But on the left side, your left is the actual date that we have right now. As you can see, the thing that we have is in December, we got feature extension complete, and down there to July, we got final release candidate. So what we are expecting right now is this: general availability, 27th of July 2017. Okay, so that's, I hope they won't change it anymore. I really hope that thing. So this is when we'll get JDK 9. Okay, what's beyond it? A lot of things, including Jigsaw, including Valhalla, including Panama. And I can talk about all these things out there: modularization, value types, foreign functions, arrays, blah, 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 blah. But I would say, well, considering my experience in the past, let's see first when the JDK 9 goes out, what will happen with JDK 10, and so on. So I don't want to rush things right now and talk too much about these slides. Okay, that's SA. What about SE? What about EE? What about Enterprise Edition? Well, first of all, there was one thing that they all said, that there is a lack of commitment, mostly coming from Oracle, for development of Java EE, and some members, like I think Reza Rahman and some of the others, said we will leave the story, and they left. And the code commits were not there. You know, if you look at the repository, no one is committing anymore. So what's going on with Java EE? And the community was kind of concerned a lot, and they formed EE Guardians, okay? A nice group, independent group of people interested in, let's try to do something for Java EE. And by the way, Huyak also joined that group, so we keep in touch regularly and see what's going on out there. And finally, the surprise, I would call it expected surprise, at Java 1 last year, they say Java EE 8 will come out at the end of 2017, if we trust them. Well, I think we can, but maybe they'll move a few months out there. So there is a roadmap for EE8 and EE9 right now, and basically this year I hopefully will have it there. By the way, they did a survey last December. What are the most most wanted technologies that you guys want in new version of EE? And the results from Oracle are that REST services, HTTP2, OAuth, and OpenID, and of course configuration, the last one, are the most wanted, at least the first 4. So they will actually now, during this year, mostly work on those things: JAX REST 2.1, Servlet 4.0, and Security 1. Okay, those are the things that they will mostly work on. The current status is they did throw out Management 2 and JMS 2.1 because there is no time to finish those things, okay? So it's now out. But for everything else, including CDI, in general, EE8, JSON, Servlet, JAX-RS, JSF, JSON-P, security, beans validations, there is kind of a public draft there or something like that. So you can now look at it and see what actually will be there in the new version of Java EE. But the two things also came out with this whole story, the new trends. The first trend is their, well, virtualization and putting in containers everything you can. So they now expect that they will publish the official JDK with Docker as a part, well, probably coming directly from Oracle, I hope we will see this year. And also, well, you have to keep in mind Kubernetes and Mesos, Amazon Web Services, VMware, and the others, what they are doing right now. We have some talks about these things, for instance, Kubernetes today. Also, the other thing that's pretty important is polyglottism everywhere. So, master to know a lot of languages and to program in them eventually. So, in the last version of Java Magazine, which was like week ago, the editor-in-chief said, should we cover JavaScript in Java Magazine? And most of the guys said there, yeah, why not? Because JavaScript is part of the Java story. Nashorn, before Rhino, you know, those things. And they also did a story about Polyglot for Maven, which now involves a lot of new languages, pretty easily implemented, let's say, integrated with Maven. Okay. So let's go back to movies and Indiana Jones. The Fast IT Crusade, what's there? There were some issues in the last year, so you have to know them. The first one is coming from a relatively controversial article from The Register in December 16, 2016, which says Oracle finally is trying to get some money from you for Java. What? Java is free. Kind of. The current version of Java is free, though. If you use it for embedded devices or some computing environments, there is a license fee. Wow, we didn't know that thing, but it was free like for the last, I don't know how many years from Sun. Yes, it was, but some things are not free. So be careful with that. For instance, Java SE Advanced or SE Suite have something which is not free inside of it. There was discussion about it online a lot. So recommendation from Huyak resolving this issue is some things are not free. Be careful which ones. Actually, Flight Recorder, Mission Control, JRocket, Advanced Management Console, and Usage Tracking are not completely free. So be careful when you use those, definitely in production or something, or just testing stuff. In general, you put the XX unlock commercial features and don't use it. If you don't use it, those things won't be in it and no one can ask you for a license fee. So be careful with those things. And of course, switch to OpenJDK if you want to, or things from Azul, IBM, Red Hat, or some other JDK that you have out there. There is online, just type in Java licensing Java champions. There is a letter coming from Java champions about this whole story, which is also part of community trying to help, well, us and you. Okay, you are the community. So, okay, that's the story. What other things are there? That there were also some other issues with EE. For instance, some large company named Gartner said, Java EE kind of is obsolete, which was what? Okay. And they say, try doesn't keep the pace, blah, 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 should switch to lighter versions of frameworks. And there were responses immediately like, okay, but what are you talking about? Java EE in the newest version that will come this year, well, eventually, will be the most lightweight enterprise that you'll have out there, or one of the most lightweights, okay? So in that case, this doesn't hold. But Gartner is trying to push with this article, and a lot of CEOs and CTOs read Gartner, you know, so they trust Gartner. So that was kind of a strange thing what happened out there, but kind of the discussion is now over, so they said, okay, maybe we exaggerated a bit, but that's their stuff. So what about things coming from Croatia? Well, okay, these days on the fast track is the story we just saw, okay? This is, by the way, the picture from the last, I think it's Oracle Day, when they were just in front of our stand there, and I took the picture of the mbots in front of HUIAC. And we bought some mbots, and we have them in HUIAC for some internal playing around, to be honest. The other thing is, the thing that I need to mention also in front of you is the curricular reform in Croatia, which is what, where? Anyone knows? Existing anymore? What happens with it? So this is a good example that went banned in the meantime. And finally, a lot of initiatives coming from software exporters, from Mreža, from eSkills initiative, from Oracle Academy. You'll have a lecture here today, and even some initiatives to put Java in high schools. We have a new program which actually teaches high school students Java, which is great. The first one we have in Croatia. And we do a lot of hackathons and competitions these days, and I see sponsors here and the other companies which do have actually a lot of hackathons. Like every few months you have something out there. And HUIAC is involved in this whole story. So, okay, to conclude today's picture. We are a relatively young Java user group. There is a lot of other user groups much older than us, but we are still trying to keep the pace as much as possible. So what we actually have right now is more than 350 Java user groups worldwide. We are just one of those. The Java community is pretty large, okay? This is the number of, well, I think this is the number of members because they are kind of guessing here. But the thing we know, actually, for sure, we have more and more Java champions. One of those was here with us today, like close to 200 right now. And more JCP members. By the way, I think I became an associate member last year, so I can also, but didn't have time to actually go and do something standardization story out there and try to help them. Maybe I'll do this year. And every year we download 1 billion of JDKs there and GREs. So it's pretty popular. As you can see, it's not just what I showed in those slides before. If you want to look closely, we have a nice map there. The guys are doing it for some time. Unfortunately, they do the typo there, so it's Java use groups, not user groups. R is missing. They didn't fix it in 6 months. But it shows the JOGs and Java champions and Java events like ours and some others, and Java for Kids events worldwide, globally. So this is how it looks like. As you can see, Java user groups in Europe, if you compare Croatia with Germany, for instance, there is a bit of a difference. In Germany, we have something like 15 Java user groups. In Croatia, we have 1. Okay, so there is a bit of a problem, but we are getting bigger, we are getting there somehow. And one of the good examples is our conferences like this one, okay, when we all gather and share experiences and talk to each other. So yes, HUIAC is relatively small out there, but we are growing. So to show you how much we are actually growing, well, here are conferences, the most famous one, JavaCron and Javantura, and this is what we had so far. In orange, you have the number of attendees. In black, you have the number of sessions. And now we are here So, okay, not more attendees than last year, but more sessions than last year. Unfortunately, a few of the foreign speakers in the meantime told us that they will not be able to come. For instance, we have one really great speaker coming from United States, Ram. Ram unfortunately told me that he has an Indian passport, and he's kind of afraid how to get back, to be honest. And he now applied for US citizenship. He will get it in a month or so, but still, you know, Trump story. Kind of a problem. He called us like 10 days ago and said, I'm not sure. So yes, sometimes we actually lose speakers because of some really stupid things out there, but you know, that's life. For JavaCro this year, we also expect the same number or similar number of attendees, but a lot more sessions than over here because it will last for 2.5 days, not only 1 day. And if you count all those things together, this is the table. You don't have to look at the numbers there, but this is all the things that we did those 15 conferences. And I'm pretty proud of the guys around me, which are, oh, one is there, where are the others? Oh, probably out there trying to fix some things. We did a lot of things in the last 5 years. By the way, we also have really great other conferences in Croatia that we support, including Doors Clock, DroidCon, Queb, Infobib, Dev Days, Shift, CroDuke, of course, and Change. Okay, so also visit those. Those are our friends, our partners there. So try to visit those conferences, and there are pretty nice talks out there. Well, some of them are related to Java a lot. CroDuke is growing on the popularity in general. As you can see, the views on the sites are not growing that much, but in general, we had 120,000 total views, and the maximum was last year in March. You can see the peak there, and a lot of posts, and okay, maybe not as much as before, but we are trying to the most important stuff to put out there. The one thing that, however, we can always say thank you, and only thank you to, is the list of all our company members. I think more than 45 right now. I think you will find your logo somewhere over here, most of you will. And thank you, okay, guys, thank you, because without you and without actually helping us to do the conferences like Javantura and JavaCro, the CroDuke, which is actually you, will not exist. But we also have to say thank you to the other partners and friends out there, including CroDuke, Carnegie, Higher Open, Hulk, the new Java Zagreb meetup, which met the first time last month, Agile Croatia, OpenBlend. Where are you guys? OpenBlend? OpenBlend? Hands up. Okay, they didn't come yet. They will, they have, because they are speakers. Jack, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Bulgarian Jack, Martin. Oh, hands up, okay. By the way, he's organizer of one other great conference called J Prime. Ever heard about that one? Maybe visited. Okay. And some other NetBeans coming from Serbia, Jack, Macedonia, Slovenian Oracle user group, and some others, including Mreža Netokracija, RIT, Shora, and some others, Okay, so, okay. Should we make a new Indiana Jones movie there or not? Well, this guy is getting pretty old. But they said he'll be there in the next movie, in 2019, I think, okay? So, yes, we still have a lot of things to do. So, one of those things is to call you out to JavaCro. JavaCro will be May 10th, 12th in Rovinj. 300 attendees, as I said, 50 more sessions, 3 or 4 tracks, 2.5 days, and call for speakers is open from last week till March 10th, I think, or so. So in the next month or so, please, speakers, dear speakers, apply with something nice that we can hear you. Well, as usual, you know the story. There is also CroDuke with us. Davor is not able to come here today, so I'm representing also JavaCro in some way. And it's on the island. It's in May. You can take a swimsuit if you want to with you. Probably you can swim, but if you don't swim outside in the sea, there is a pool inside. So extracurricular activities, as I call them, are also pretty nice. And parties. Okay, so let's try to do a legendary t-shirt toss. But the thing is that we forgot t-shirts this year. So nothing about it. They do it often. This is James Gosling, you know, trying to push the t-shirts out there in the crowd. So I don't have it. But I have something instead of it. So no t-shirts, sorry. What about books? I promise I won't throw them. First thing, Rocco. Is Rocco here? Not yet, he'll come later. Rocco has written the first Croatian book about Scrum, Lean, and extreme programming. And he will offer it here with some discount, I think 30 or 35% for Javantura attendees, if you want to read about it. But be careful, it's in Croatian. Maybe you understand that thing. Okay, so Rocco will also have a talk later, so feel free to visit him and ask him, where can I go and how can I get the book? One of the other things is Manning. Ever heard about Manning? They are offering 40% discount on all books to all Javantura V4 attendees. You just have to type in CTW Javantura and you will get it. And the guy responsible for that is Marko Lukša. Where is Marko? Marko? Coming from Slovenia, and they're always late on the keynotes there. Special thanks to Marko, but Marko is there only not as the guy who helped us, but as the guy who actually wrote Kubernetes in Action. And he'll have a talk later about it. So if you've never heard about Kubernetes, this is the great way to go. If you're not, you can play with Google Container, and not just Docker, play with other stuff out there. And listen about multi-component, self-healing, scalable, distributed, whatever applications out there. Thank you, Marko. And also Petar. Where is Petar? Petar. Oh my God, they're all drinking coffee out there. So Petar and Marko actually also wrote a book about Spark. And there will be a lecture about it today. So Spark in Action, it's called. And you could win one at SV Group promo stand out there, one of our sponsors. And basically, well, those are the books I have for you. Well, I have more. O'Reilly is offering you some 240 books for free, including those related to Java out there. Just go there and check what's there. Maybe not the newest titles there, but they can help you a lot. And if you really want to have something new every day, there is Pact. Pact is offering free book every day. So you just go to that link and you can download. Of course, it's not always all the times Java related, but some of the books there are pretty nice to read and still not, let's say, still current and trendy in some way. Okay, I will conclude finally. So first, I have to call for participation. No, the last I have to do that, first and last, because every day I try to explain people and our members that Huyak needs help. And Huyak needs help in everyday life in organizing conferences like this. Thank you, sponsors, once again. Thank you, all the attendees that paid for your tickets. Thank you, because without it, we won't do such a great thing out here. We also need help in organizing meetups and workshops and anything related to certification and education. And we'll hopefully also help you with employment out there, because there is a lack of resources in Croatia, as I can see right now. So, can you help us? No. Help yourself. You are Huyak. Okay? How many members over here? Hands up. Oh, company members. Okay, so half of it at least. So, guys, you're helping yourself. You're not helping us to do it. You're helping us to help you. So, try to understand the thing in it. And with this thing, I'll conclude today. We have still some things lightning talks coming from sponsors, but for the Huyak part, I'll finally shut up. There will be some talks later. I will maybe be a part of them, but for this part, I just have to say once again, thank you all that you are here with us today. Thanks.